How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another week and another Destiny 2 video where we are now going over the inverted Spire Grandmaster Strike, even though last week I said it was Arms Dealer. I was wrong. I had my weeks mixed up. So we're going to go ahead with the inverted Spire guide. So if you like it, leave a like, subscribe to see more, and obviously comment down below what worked for you and your team when you ran this strike. Once you land into the strike, just hop on your Sparrow and scoot past everything you see here, following this little road. I guess it's honestly the best road I've seen so far. Up to the left-hand side, onto this cliff you're going to see me jump to. Now, when you jump up here, there can be some fallen that try to push you where you see me put my barricade. They didn't this time, which is great, but they will kill you. All you're going to do here is just kill all these like fallen and these Vex and the Cabal that are going to spawn. You're going to scan a conflux to activate a bridge, move on, kill more adds, and then move into where I consider the strike really starting, because that's where the champs are. So just do all of this, just stay up here, sit far back and try not to die, as this part's really not that hard. And then we're going to go over the next area, which can trip people up because some people don't know about the quote-unquote hidden champions that, people forget about. So let's move on to that. Once you get into this area, there's going to be a few scions for you to deal with on this platform below you. Once you take care of them, you and your team can jump down and start looking at the other adds in this room. The first thing you're going to deal with is this solar shielded Centurion that's right in the middle. He's really focusing on the Vex on the other side, so he really shouldn't be that much of a problem to deal with. Once you've dealt with him, you can then look around and look for other enemies to deal with. I went for the choice of looking down and dealing with the barrier champion that is below us, because there are 3 champions underneath this platform. There's 2 barriers and 1 unstoppable. One of the barriers is going to spawn right where you see I am looking at. Underneath, take care of him and jump across to your other teammates, where then you will be dealing with an unstoppable Centurion again, or an incinerator is what they are, an unstoppable incinerator, and then 2 more barrier hobgoblins. Take care of them, and once those are all done and the adds are done and the shield has been removed, turn back around, look underneath, and deal with those last 2 champions. It's an unstoppable incinerator and an anti-barrier colossus. Once you've dealt with all the champions in this room, you can move on to the next session of this strike. Once you get to this next part, you're going to be met with a barrier champion immediately. He's by himself, so he's really easy to deal with, and just team shot him, get rid of him, and work your way down to the next area, past the gladiators and the legionnaires, where there is a bunch more champions for you to deal with. Once you get down here, you will have to deal with an unstoppable incinerator and 2 barrier hobgoblins. Team shot them, stun them, get rid of them, and move on to the next area by hopping on your Sparrow and taking this left side path through this battlefield, and you're going to kind of bunker down into a crater on the left hand side, where you and your team are now going to strategically work through this area, so this way you don't die as much as I did, which is what you're going to see here in the background footage. And honestly, I had a really rough time with this for no reason whatsoever. Once you get to this area, there's going to be a bunch of adds that spawn in the middle, as well as an anti-barrier champion that spawns a little further back on a little catwalk. Take care of these adds. What you're not going to want to do is what you see me doing, which is just thunder crashing all of them and dying. I highly recommend working with your team or using a super that is better suited for ad control, like a stasis or just something much better than a thunder crash here. Once you've taken care of that anti-barrier champion, you're then going to look for both of these drill security officers, however they are called. There's going to be one on the left-hand bunker and one on the right-hand bunker. You're going to kill them both before you can move on to the drill section. Once you get to this part, you're going to want to activate these little jump boosters. Jump up here, and there's going to be an unstoppable champion for you to deal with. Stun him, and then use a super or whatever to get rid of him. Our plan here was to have everybody jump up, stun him, and then have our friend use their Thunder Crash, but they didn't get up here until later, and then you can see the stun, and then the Thunder Crash. Get rid of that champion, and then move on to the drill part where you have to realign the booster. Now, when you get to this part, there's going to be a barrier champion that realistically you're going to want to deal with as a team first before any one person jumps down there. You see him right there. take care of him as a team and then have someone pull the lever. You can see that our friendly here already pulled the lever, and now we are dealing with the barrier champion from up top. While this whole thing is getting reset, there's going to be an unstoppable champion that also spawns. You're going to want to deal with them as well. And then once the transmat system has been fully reoriented, you can then get past this part and move on. The biggest tip I have for this part, try to stay up here on this platform for as long as possible, which usually what happens is you defeat the barrier champion and then someone goes down there, pulls a lever, and just finds a good spot to hide so that this way they don't have to worry about being a sacrifice, essentially, but that doesn't always work out, and sometimes you still have to sacrifice. Just sit up here. It's a really good spot to sit and wait for the transmat system to completely reset and be able to take you to the next area of this strike. Once that's done, take this jump cannon to the other side and do not die in this wall, as quite frankly, your teammates are probably going to laugh at you because that physics just don't work in this game half the time, and sometimes you pick up too much speed and die. Anyways, there's an unstoppable champion here you're gonna want to deal with. Take care of him and these scions on the right hand side on this cliff, as they will snipe you and probably kill you. There's also a little Vex explosive up there that you can use to get rid of them pretty simply. Just one, it explodes and they all die. It's really nice. Once you get past this unstoppable champion, you can then move on to the next area where there is another unstoppable champion, as well as a few ads before you move on to the drill bit section, which I have a pretty funny tip for people running through this area. Now, once you get past that little mini boss and the unstoppable champion, you have this drill bit gorge area where you're going to be faced with 3 barrier champions, a barrier colossus and 2 barrier hobgoblins. Now, what you're going to do is just work as a team and take care of these ads while also trying not to be completely destroyed by these drill bits. There's a path you take, just this path you see right in front of you where the anti-barrier colossus is. You know, it's a pretty straightforward path. However, there are scions in this area, and their grenades like to boop people up into the air. So avoid, this is my tip that I was talking about earlier, kill the scions as fast as possible and avoid their grenades, because getting booped up into one of these drill bits is quite frankly hilarious. You'll get sent, you'll die because these things are a one-shot kill, and you'll get sent to the back to the beginning of this area where you come into this drill area. So just kill the scions and avoid their grenades, because they will troll the absolute hell out of you by getting smacked by these drills. Take care of these champions and move into the boss arena, where quite frankly this is one of the easiest bosses in the game to one phase, and I'm gonna show you how we did it, or how it can be done. I can't fully remember if we fully one-phased it or we got close enough to where it really didn't matter, but I'm going to show you, what we did and how it would make it easier for you and your team to get to this part. Upon entering the boss arena, there are some arc-shielded harpies you're going to want to deal with, as this is what triggers the boss to spawn. Once they are gone, the boss is going to spawn. When the boss spawns, make sure you have everything set up. We used any type of weakening effects we had to make this easier. You're going to want to get the boss to just above his third of the health, and you're going to hit him with everything you have to try to get him to die in one phase. As you see, we left him with the smallest amount of health because we sent it just a little too early. He has to be right on that bar almost. Get him to that bar and then give him everything you have. If not, like you see here, he's just going to go to the next phase with little to no health. You just wait for him to be damageable, hit him once, and your strike is over, and you can watch your loot pile up on the right hand side of your screen. This strike is a very easy one, so if you're looking to farm stuff for it, watch your ankles. If you're looking to farm stuff for it, this is how you get it done. It's probably one of the better ones to do. This and Arms Dealer, which is for a fact next week. So that is that. Now, we're going to look at our loadouts for this particular strike. As far as loadouts are concerned, I ran Thunder Crash with Caress of the Falling Star to make use of the arc burn that is effective in this strike. Outbreak Perfected for Barrier, which it worked extremely well. Ayesha's Embrace to deal with Void Shields and Unstoppable, because quite frankly, I am not a fan of Vouchsafe, but it also works here very well. And then Storm Chaser, because it is our best arc linear to use. Of course, if you have rockets, use rockets, but I prefer a linear for my endgame content. For some mods, I ran Explosive Well Maker, Seeking Wells, Reaping Well Maker, Well of Tenacity, and Revitalizing Blast. So this way I could play into some of my allies they used to make wells over myself making the wells. My second teammate ran Quiver and Omni, so this way we'd have a debuff for the boss for the 1 phase, Arbalest for Barrier, Staccato for Unstoppable Champions, and of course, Storm Chaser as well. He plays a lot more aggressive, so his mods included Melee Wellmaker, Reaping Wellmaker, Well of Utility, Font of Wisdom, and Reactive Pulse. This allows him to play very, very aggressive. And my final teammate also ran Thunder Crash and Carouse of the Falling Star, also to make use of the Arc Burn, Peace of Mind for Barrier, Skyburner's Oath for Unstoppable, and there is a large quantity of Cabal enemies in this strike, so Skyburners does additional damage to them, which is nice, and of course, Storm Chaser as well. They ran Elemental Ordnance, Well of Tenacity, Font of Wisdom, Seeking Wells, and Flame Harvesting to make those solar wells with Skyburner's Oath. It tied in quite nicely. Now, if you got any type of, enjoyment out of this video, or this video helped you in any way, please leave a like, comment, some things you would change potentially, and then obviously subscribe to see the final Nightfall next week, which is Arms Dealer, which this one is the build that I'm excited to show you guys. And I have changed this build since then, and I used it today, and it is absolutely insane. So with that, I hope everybody has a good week.